Moriarty and Norman are the two smartest characters in their universe, overcoming obstacles that control their very lives. Which character was able to outsmart their way to make their world better? Let's find out. First up is Spatial, and all these categories go to Moriarty. Moriarty has shown to be able to pick apart the smallest things and turn them into the biggest leads, such as noticing the patterns in killings related to class issues, or that the locations where they took place showed an idea of where a criminal was located. Moriarty is able to put the space and materials together to form solid cases and plans with very little detail. Moriarty takes this with easy difficulty, giving him a total of 31 points and Norman with a 0. Next is Interpersonal, and these all seem to go to Moriarty as well. Moriarty takes these first 4 categories with easy difficulty, as he understands his intentions and what he will do to a T, never underestimating or overestimating himself, always prepared and planning for everything. He knows the limitations that restrict him and the knowledge he has acquired, and brings those things out to their very limit when he works. Moriarty takes adaptability and emotional control with medium difficulty. Norman was able to adapt to his environment fairly well and for the most part is able to keep a level head. But Moriarty is on another level of adapting, able to adjust to circumstances and form new plans on the fly all the time, keeping a level head even when presented with difficult situations. Moriarty took all the categories, so he will get the total points of 34 points and Norman with a 0. Next is Linguistics, and these all seem to go to Moriarty with easy difficulty. Norman isn't so much well versed here. He speaks on the level of an average human being for the most part, where Moriarty uses words and subjects that tend to lead others down a certain way of thinking. Moriarty doesn't always use this, but when he does, it shows how much he understands what he wants. Saying things that get people to act certain ways, such as scarring a man so much that he starts to lose his mind and ends up making himself look like he killed a person in front of a crowd of people. Moriarty gets the total points, giving him 25 and Norman 0. Next is Bodily Kinesthetics, and the first category is Upper Body Control. Moriarty seems to get this as seen with his fight with Sherlock. He was able to be very precise in his movements and react to Sherlock's own moves using his hands and sword. Moriarty takes this with medium difficulty. Next is Lower Body Control. This seems to favor Norman this time, as he was shown doing cartwheels, running and jumping around, very agile on his feet, while Moriarty is really not seen using lower body control as much, except to keep himself balanced while fighting, which is important, but Norman seems to show slightly more here. Norman takes this with hard difficulty. Last is Reflexes. This goes to Moriarty with medium difficulty, as similarly shown with his fight with Sherlock, he is cleanly and effortlessly maneuvering around well in this fight, showing great mobility. Moriarty won more points, so he takes this, giving him 14 and Norman with 3. Next is Interpersonal, and these all seem to go to Moriarty, as he fully understands others' intentions and actions they'll take within the limitations presented to them with the knowledge they have. He plans and prepares for almost everything that happens within the series, expecting certain information to found out by certain people, and knowing what they'll do with it, is able to use it to become a part of his own plans. Moriarty takes this with easy difficulty, giving him the total points of 36 and Norman with a 0. Next is Existential, and these are close, as Moriarty and Norman both have somewhat similar beliefs in freedom and justice, wanting equality and the right to life. Moriarty is slightly more sure of himself and his beliefs, as he knew what he wanted from the start, where Norman took some time to make up his mind. Moriarty takes this with hard difficulty, giving himself the total points of 10 and Norman with a 0. Next is Logical, and all these are taken by Moriarty. Moriarty gathers information much quicker and to greater detail than Norman does. Moriarty is able to make greater deductions with less information than Norman can. And Moriarty makes far more consistent and better plans than Norman does. Norman's plan to escape the orphanage was nearly on par with some of Moriarty's plans, but it took months for it to be planned and prepared for, while Moriarty was seemingly doing his plans every other week, with days or hours of wanting to set something up. Moriarty takes these with easy difficulty, giving himself the total points of 37 points and Norman with a 0. Next is Musical, and this is somewhat close, as both Norman and Moriarty used sound to understand their locations and find ways to outmaneuver their opponents, such as Moriarty outmaneuvering the police knowing where they were, and Norman with outmaneuvering his siblings in tag. Moriarty has slightly more impressive showings, so he will take this with hard difficulty, giving himself the total points of 17 and Norman with a 0. The last section is Naturalist, and it appears like Moriarty takes all these as well. Moriarty has shown a better understanding of elements and how they work, poisoning people with certain ingredients or explaining how to grow crops better. He shows a better understanding of animal nature, doing or saying things that get people to act a certain way or forcing them to do certain things with little effort for the most part. Moriarty takes this with easy difficulty, giving himself the total points of 29 and Norman with a 0. Well, it seems this was another effortless win for Moriarty, who basically took everything over Norman, gaining 233 points and Norman with 3. Norman is a smart character, but he is smart in a realistic way and smart for a 12-year-old child, while Moriarty is full-grown adult, using anything and everything to get his way, able to figure out and plan things with the smallest of details and information. Norman takes time to be smart, where Moriarty is always smart all the time. So far, nobody has been able to stand much of a chance against Moriarty as we head into the semi-finals. Moriarty won, so he will be moving on to the next round. Did you enjoy this video and do you agree with the results? Let me know what you think in the comments.